Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a beauty video. We're gonna talk about this Tom Ford foundation, okay? So I'm one of those people that I don't care if it's high end or low end. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I do like a nice high-end, situation, but if it's gonna be high-end, I need it to come with the high-end, feel. Like I need to give high-end all throughout. So I'm gonna give you my opinion on this Tom Ford foundation. This is the Traceless Soft Matte Foundation. So how did I even come across this foundation? So I'm somebody who I just kind of go with the flow when it comes to beauty things and things that I like. I'm not always on the hunt for the latest thing or the newest thing. It just kind of, as products come up, if they interest me, I'll try them out. So I literally was watching a YouTube video and somehow I clicked a link on accident and it opened up the Sephora app. All right, this just sounds a little like I know how it's sounding, but this is literally what happened. And then when the Sephora app was open, like on the home page, it was a few items up and I saw Tom Ford foundation. It was 50% off, $45, and it originally had on there that it retails around $90. So I'm like, this is really a steal. 50% off of this foundation. So I was like, what's going on here? Like, I don't see a lot of high-end brands that are like 50% off of their products. So I was like, this is a great opportunity to try out this foundation. Now I did go before purchasing, look through the reviews, and there were some that were good and then there were some that were not so good. But I am the type of person, like, I want to try something for myself if I really feel led to or interested in, and so I did. And so now I can give you my unbiased actual opinion of the product. Okay, so from the jump I had high expectations for this foundation because I don't recall ever paying $90 or more for a foundation that I currently have in my collection. Even other high-end brands, they still have not, as far as what I purchased, ranged at $90. If it has, I have not paid attention and I just purchased it. So immediately my expectation is high for this foundation. Anyone who is purchasing this foundation full price, I know you probably feel like this needs to be worth my $90, unless you just have like free money to blow. So upon taking the foundation out of the box, I was a little underwhelmed. So I am used to glass foundations. I feel like in a lot of the luxury brands or higher up brands, I'm used to seeing, glass bottle foundations, and even in some lower or, average considered foundation brands. When I opened the foundation out of the box, I did not get met with a glass bottle. It is a plastic bottle or a substance similar to it. I believe it's plastic. It was a little kind of off-putting, especially for a $90 foundation. I personally feel like a glass bottle gives a much more luxury feel, and it just makes me feel like the item is worth more. Even if it's not, I feel like that glass bottle makes it feel like it's really worth more than what it actually is. I do love the top, and I love the fact that all you have to do is just twist the top and then your foundation pump lifts up and you can pump it like that. Now here is something that I've noticed from using the foundation a couple of times, is that as I have used the foundation, I've noticed that foundation does kind of get around the pump. I did just use this foundation, so I didn't clean it, so I can actually show you how it has looked after I've used it. Is it a big deal? I feel like that's a personal thing. For me, it's not a super big deal because honestly, a lot of my pumps, I just kind of leave them. For somebody who is maybe considering buying this, I do feel like that is a factor to consider, especially with the price range. Now, I don't believe that every single product will be perfect. I do believe there are some things that, you just have to deal with certain products. But I do feel like that was something important to point out. So it's not a huge deal for me. I still feel like it's not something that's like a make or break it thing, but it is something that I would consider in purchasing this foundation. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't really care about, plastic versus glass when it comes to your foundation bottles and stuff like that. I feel like it is a pretty good grade of material used for the bottle, and I do like that it does give that kind of matted, a little bit glass look, but I would have preferred the bottle to actually be glass. It's still clear enough to where as the foundation continues to go down, you can still see what you're using and how much you're using. Okay, so let's actually get into the product, the title of the product, and if this product actually lives up to what it has been named. So my first time using the foundation, as I pumped the foundation, I felt that it came out pretty liquidy. I felt like it kind of reminded me of some of my tinted moisturizers have been, are like a tinted oil type of situation. It does say that it is a soft matte foundation, and it does say that it's traceless. So I definitely will agree that I have felt that this foundation could be considered traceless, because as I have blended it out on my face, it gave such a beautiful blend that looked very skin-like. I could still see after 2 pumps a little bit of maybe like some old dark marks, but it wasn't anything that was super bad or anything like that. So I feel like a lot of people who like that natural looking foundation that gives like a skin like a glow, this may be a good foundation for you. If you have really oily skin, I feel like this might not be something that an oily skin person would necessarily want to gravitate to, only because I feel like the foundation feels like an oil as I was blending it out. I felt like I was basically rubbing an oil on my face. I have used a tinted oil before, and as I was rubbing this Tom Ford foundation out, that's kind of what it was making me feel like. Even though it's considered soft matte, the first time I used it, I actually used a soft matte primer under it, and after the 8 hours I did have some oiliness around my nose and a little around my forehead, and I could notice a little bit around like my cheek area. I'm not a super oily person. I've kind of got my skin now to like a normal balanced place, but every now and then I do have some light oil dependent on the foundation, dependent on the product that I use, that sometimes may seep through, but this definitely did allow some oilage to seep through. And as you can see now, I don't necessarily consider this super oily or anything. I actually like the way the foundation is looking on me right now. I feel like it gives that skin like glow. Each time that I have worn this foundation, I have put a lot of loose powder on my face. Now, do I feel like an oily skin person could wear this foundation? Of course, it's up to you, it's your choice. I would just definitely recommend using a mattifying primer under this foundation and definitely setting with a nice amount of powder. I have set with a very nice amount of loose powder each time that I have used this foundation, and even with the amount of powder that I've used, I still had some oiliness seep through. But I can definitely say, compared to other soft matte foundations that I have, I don't really know if I would consider this a matte foundation for me. It's definitely giving that soft effect, but as far as the matte effect, I don't know if I can necessarily all the way come out and say that I agree this foundation gives matte. If you are a dry skin person and you want to go for that dewy look, I feel like this may be a good foundation for you, and just maybe moisturize before applying the foundation and then your powder. But I can say that even with me applying a lot of powder, it still hasn't really taken away that skin like look. It still hasn't really taken away that soft look of the foundation. There are some foundations that I have used and I put on the foundation, and as soon as I put on powder, it looks like, girl, what is going on? It's just like, it's just too much. But even with a lot of powder for this foundation, I feel like it still has not really budged as far as taking away that skin like nice look. So I would say for me this would be like the perfect foundation for like an everyday natural foundation look. If I'm just going out and about and I want something that looks more natural, or if I'm gonna be probably even outside or something like that and I don't want it to look like I have a lot of makeup caked on, I feel like this is something that I would gravitate to. Or if I'm just going somewhere and you know nobody's really dressed up, or really, which you can still dress up even if nobody else is, but if I'm going somewhere and it's not like a super upscale, I need to have my face, you know, super done up, I feel like this is something that I would continue to gravitate to. I did not have any problems with my concealer blended in with this foundation, or even the powder. Like I said before, I felt like the powder blended in with the foundation and made the foundation still look very natural. It's not one of those thicker foundations. It definitely can be buildable, but I feel like you're gonna be pumping out a good amount of the foundation to get that heavy buildable coverage of the foundation. Like when I was trying to go for like completely cover up all the marks and stuff, I feel like I pumped at least a good 4 to 5 pumps, maybe even more, to cover up all those areas. And the fact that the foundation came out so liquidy, I feel like my brush bristles definitely soaked up the foundation a lot. So I feel like it's beneficial to get to blending as soon as basically you put the foundation on the brush. I am very pleased with the color match. The color that I have in this Tom Ford foundation is 11.5, and that is Warm Nutmeg. So I kind of stick to a lot of neutral foundations. I have some golden undertones, so I usually look for that in foundations, and based off of what Sephora felt would have been my best match, that is what was highlighted in my app, and I ordered it and it worked pretty well with me. So in coming to a close of this video, I do want to point out some things that are on the Sephora website for this foundation. I didn't see a lot on the actual Tom Ford website about the foundation, and maybe it's because I was looking on phone view. Sephora does have some things on their app that they have written about the foundation, and that's actually where I bought it from. So I'll go ahead and read a little bit of some of the things that it says or points out. It does say the coverage is medium, so I would definitely agree with it being about a medium coverage foundation. I do feel that it is buildable. It says that the finish is matte. I don't know if I necessarily fully agree with that. It's a true matte foundation. I know it says soft matte. I maybe can kind of agree with it being a soft matte, but in all honesty, I feel like considering the other matte foundations that I have, you know, had experience with using, I wouldn't fully agree myself that I would consider this a matte foundation. I do feel like if you set it well, that you can get a more matte look with it, but I feel like after a while, after multiple uses, I continue to see that glowy skin light look. Not long after setting the foundation, and then throughout the day I felt like it continued on. I personally do not consider this a matte foundation in my book. Okay, so it says for skin type normal, dry, combination, and oily. So I feel like that pretty much covers almost all the skin types. So as far as it's saying that all of these skin types can use the foundation, I honestly am one of those people that believe you can work things out when it comes to cosmetics and foundations. Like how I mentioned earlier, if you're somebody who may be more prone to dryness, you can use a moisturizer and then the foundation on top of it, or a moisturizing primer. And if you're somebody who's super oily, maybe you could use more of a mattifying primer and then the foundation on top of that to kind of like balance it out. That is just my experience with makeup artistry, with what I would say could work. But at the end of the day, foundations are gonna react to everyone differently. And then in the what else you need to know section, it says this formula stays color true for up to 10 hours and resists fading. So I will definitely agree that I feel like the color stayed true throughout the 8-hour period that I wore it, and then the next time that I wore it, it was at least a good 5 hours that I wore the foundation, maybe more than that. I feel like the foundation colorage and all of that stayed true. I feel like it was still on my face. It still looked good. And then it says Traceless Soft Matte Foundation provides a matte finish without looking cakey or dry. I definitely feel like foundation did not look cakey at all. It came on, like I said again, very skin-like, and my skin definitely did not look dry, but it also, I feel like, looked kind of dewy. So, and then there's a part that says skin still looks and moves like skin and feels smoother over time even after foundation has been removed. So I don't feel like I've used it enough to, you know, say that it's had an effect kind of like skincare yet. I do believe I'm going to continue to use this foundation. I'm definitely going to keep it, and maybe I'll see if it really has any effects, you know, in making my skin feel smoother over time. So overall, I can say that what I have read on Sephora, for the most part, I agree with. As far as the foundation, is it a good foundation? I would say yes. Is it worth $90? I feel like that's a person by person, you know, thing. I am glad that I got it for the price that I got it for. Would I have paid $90 for it? I feel like yes and no. I feel like if it was a foundation that I just heard about, didn't really know much about it, I don't think I would have, you know, originally jumped to buy the foundation. Now actually trying the foundation, I do believe that it's a good foundation, but I feel like I could have found other foundations for a lesser price than the original price that could have given me pretty much maybe the same look or something similar. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I definitely do feel like you're kind of paying just for the brand name. I feel like if you want to rock Tom Ford foundation and that's your thing, I feel like go for it. But I feel like if you're just looking for a quality foundation, don't really care about the name and everything, I do feel like there are other options that you have if you just are overall just looking for a quality foundation. Do I regret buying it? No. I really do actually enjoy this foundation. I really do like it, but I feel like it's not something that I feel like I just have to have. So yes, I'll continue to use it. Yes, I believe it is a quality foundation. I do believe that having this foundation can be beneficial to your makeup collection, okay? Alright, I hope you enjoyed this talk through slash review slash my experience. And if you get this foundation, or if you already have this foundation and you like it, definitely let me know what your thoughts on this foundation are, what your experiences have been. I hope this video was helpful and gave a positive but honest look at how I feel about the product. And that's the thing with luxury. You want to make sure that when you're purchasing luxury items, you're getting the value for the luxury price that you're paying. Be sure to check out any of my other videos that interest you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.